Whoa. Ever caught a falling glass midair like it was nothing? Ever dodged danger before your brain even processed what was happening? Or blurted out the perfect words in the perfect moment and even you didn't know how or why? Now pause. Breathe. Because right now, somewhere in the world, elite special forces are sweating through 2 brutal decades of training just to master that kind of instinct, the kind you pulled off on accident while bored. That's not luck. That's not random. That's power. Raw, wired in, bone deep power. And no one ever told you it was yours. You've been tricked into thinking you're average, that your genius needs permission, that your strength needs a crisis to matter. But this video, it's your alarm clock. 'Cause if you've already tasted greatness by accident, what could happen if you chased it on purpose? Let's talk about it before the world convinces you to sleep on your own fire again. There are places so secret, so extreme, so unbelievably intense that you won't find them in any book, on any map, or whispered about in luxury travel blogs. Nope, forget it. These places don't want tourists, they don't want attention. These are any bird's eye climber, those thuggin training grounds, the sacred pits where the world's most ruthless minds and strongest spirits are carved. Wow, you feel it already, don't you? A chill, a pull in your chest like something's calling your name. Because it is. These aren't gyms, they aren't boot camps, they're forges. Built into frozen mountains, carved beneath oceans, buried deep in jungles where danger doesn't knock, it devours. These places aren't on YouTube thumbnails or Instagram reels. They're raw, brutal, and soul-ripping. And guess what? Most people will never know they exist. Why? Because these grounds aren't for the many. They're built for the few, the strange, wild-hearted ones who aren't scared of breaking because they know they'll rebuild. Stronger, sharper, undefeated. Every second inside these places is war. Sleep, luxury, comfort, laughs, a fantasy. These people choose pain, choose the cold, the fear, the exhaustion, all for one thing: to become unshakable. They're not trying to be tough, they're trying to be untouchable. They drag themselves through mud for miles, faces cracked, shoulders bleeding, minds on fire. They swim under black water at midnight with nothing but a knife and raw willpower. Not for medals, not for followers, but because they refuse to be average. Because they are becoming the blade that never breaks, the shield that never bends, the storm that walks into chaos and walks out with control. Whoa. Can you feel that? No spotlight, no cheering crowd, no camera crew capturing their grit, their collapse, their rebirth. This isn't Hollywood. This is real. This is what greatness looks like before anyone sees it. And it's not pretty, it's painful, silent, and full of lonely nights. And yet they do it every single day. Why? Because they're after something bigger than applause. They're chasing mastery. Mastery over fear, over pain, over the voice that whispers, "You can't." And here comes the anger, the fire, because you've heard that voice too, haven't you? You've believed it. You've bowed to it. But no more. Here's the twist. Lean in. This part is gold. These training grounds, they're not always far away. Sometimes they're right here. In your apartment, in that room where you scream into your pillow, on the streets you walk, head low, heart heavy, pretending you're fine, That's a training ground too. Boom. Mind blown, right? You've already been training. While others were learning theories, you were surviving fire. While others practiced, you endured. Your pain, your silence, your scars. Wow, that's your curriculum. That's your elite training. Just without the uniform. You don't need a jungle. You don't need ice, or guns, or wilderness. All you need is that one sentence. I will not give up. Say it now. Feel it. Let it shake your bones. Let it light your soul like a match thrown into gasoline. Your life, yes, your messy, silent, beautiful, aching life is your training ground. Every test, every betrayal, every heartbreak that didn't end you, it built you slowly, quietly, like water carving stone. You are not weak. You are weathered steel. They train for decades to become what you already are, becoming right now, without applause, without medals, without anyone cheering. And that's the greatest power of all, because when no one's watching, but you still rise, you're already the strongest person in the room. So train like it matters. Fight like it's already yours. Live like you were built to outlast the world. Because you didn't stumble into this world like a mistake. You weren't in some accident tossed into the storm by chance. No. You were placed here laughing through the chaos, burning with a fire meant to wake the sky. Wow, even your birth was a quiet explosion the world didn't notice. But you're not here to be overlooked forever. You've felt it, haven't you? That pull. That voice inside that says this can't be all there is. That's not delusion, that's destiny, reminding you who you are. Maybe the world made you feel small. Maybe they boxed you in, ignored your spark, buried your voice under routines and rules and noise. Maybe life convinced you to shrink, to play it safe, to walk quietly and never disturb the order. But inside you, beneath all that dust, there's a beast waiting, quiet, watching, breathing, waiting for you to wake it up. You were born for something, and I don't mean a job or a paycheck or a picture-perfect life. I mean real purpose. The kind that grabs your chest and screams, run toward the thing that scares you most. The kind of purpose that doesn't ask for permission. It takes the moment and makes it legendary. There's a power living in you. Not loud like panic, not dramatic like fear. No. It whispers, it flickers, it waits. You know the moments when a story of someone who rose from nothing makes your heart race. That's not just inspiration. That's your soul recognizing itself. It's the part of you that knows I was built to rise too. You've always felt out of place, haven't you? Like you were meant for something more, but no one gave you directions. That's not rebellion. That's your blueprint trying to wake you up. You weren't made to follow the script. Not the one that says fit in, stay quiet, obey. Nope. Laughs, that's not you, never was. You're the type that gets goosebumps when truth is spoken. You feel your heartbeat speed up when someone breaks the rules. Not out of disrespect, but to become something greater. You feel that tightness in your chest in the silence. Not sadness stirring. Your destiny is shaking the cage, shouting, "Let me out." But here's the part that most people miss. Being born for something doesn't mean it falls into your lap. No knight in shining armor, no golden key. It means the seed is inside you, but you have to fight to grow it. You have to choose to rise when you're tired. You have to laugh in danger's face and say, this is where I'm meant to be. No one's going to come tap your shoulder and tell you now's the time, because your time doesn't wait. It's not handed, it's claimed. The moment you decide it's yours, it is. The door opens the second you stop knocking and start walking through the wall. Most people will never find their purpose, not because it was missing, but because they never believed they had one. And that should make you angry. Not at them, at the lie they were sold. Don't buy it. Don't be another ghost drifting through life, half awake, half alive. You were born to shake the earth, to speak fire, to turn your suffering into stone walls, to build something that echoes long after you're gone. You are the moment before the lightning strike, the wind before the avalanche, the calm rage before the rise. And it's your time. So look in the mirror and look hard, past the bodice skin, past the tired eyes, past the fear. See it, that force that hasn't even shown its full power yet. That's you, still becoming, still climbing, still dangerous in the best way. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You were born for something, and your moment is charging straight at you. You just have to meet it halfway. And when you do, boom, the world will never be the same. Not all heroes wear medals or march in front of cameras. Some wear tired sneakers, cracked hands, and quiet eyes, moving through life with a calm so deep it hides where's the storm inside them. And the world passes them by. But wow, the world doesn't know what sleep smarts in their bones. These people, these ordinary souls, are walking arsenals of instinct, waiting for a moment, a flicker, a spark to ignite what most can't even train for. And when that moment arrives, when the air where shifts, the danger strikes, the silence breaks, boom, they move, fast, fierce, flawless, without thinking, without doubting, while others freeze, while others panic. They're already acting, because deep inside, something ancient and unstoppable wakes up, something not learned, but born. And if you've ever caught a falling glass without looking, or stepped aside just before impact without knowing why, or shouted a warning before your brain caught up laughing, then you've felt it, haven't you? That jolt of something greater, that rush that told you you're not just here to survive, you're here to strike. And that wasn't luck, wasn't coincidence, wasn't random. That was you, unfiltered, undistracted, a glimpse of the legend inside you. Because let me tell you the truth, the world keeps hiding. You were never average. You were only unaware, because the fire's been there since March day one, and it's been watching, waiting, preparing. And when that crisis came, you didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't run. You reacted like lightning. Pure muscle, pure. Don't need a mission to be dangerous. Don't need chaos to be powerful. But if chaos comes, if life throws its worst storm, you're not stepping back. You're stepping in, because your trigger is real. Your gift is rare. And every soldier who trains for 20 years to trust their instincts would cheer or for what you did in a second without knowing how. And that's not luck, that's purpose rising to the surface. That's legacy crawling out of your chest. And maybe it scared you the first time. Maybe you thought, what was that? But I'll tell you, that was you, the real you, the one who's been silent too long, and now it's time to stop waiting for life to pull the birth trigger. You pull it, you take control, you train your mind to match your instincts, your will to match your fire, because you don't have to wait to be a hero. You already are, standing in the middle of a world that doesn't see you yet. But soon it will, wow, and when it'll see unstoppable. You walk around thinking you're unprepared, like life forgot to train you, like others have something you'll never unlock. Wow, what a lie, because here's the truth. You've been training since the moment pain touched your chest, since first time the world told you no, and Britt, you stood there anyway, not backing down, not giving in that's not weakness, that's training under pressure, that's power in disguise, because while they were in classrooms learning theory, you were in life's furnace, burning, bending, breaking, but never breaking down. Anger rises, you're not breaking down, just trained, you're forged like steel, hardened by things others couldn't survive. 5 minutes of you've walked through storms with no umbrella, carried pain like it wasn't still. You're here, still standing, still breathing, still virtuous. And don't you dare call that ordinary danger, and don't think for a second that because you never wore a uniform or got a drip of what and medal, you aren't elite, because what's more elite than showing up to a world that kept trying to push you out? Laughing. You've been trained by chaos, by doubt, by disappointment, and look at you now. Your training is real, it's quiet, it's invisible, but it's there in how you hold your ground, and how you sense tension in a room, how you read pain like a book and still offer comfort. Awe floods in. That's mastery, not of weapons, but of self, of mind, of endurance. And you need to stop pretending you're at level 1. You're in a beast hiding in civilian clothes, and the world won't see you coming until you rise. But no one's ready for the precision, the focus, the pure heat you're carrying, because what you thought was just pain, it was preparation, and what you called survival, and now it's time to use it, not for destruction, but for dominance, over doubt, over fear, over every second you thought you weren't enough. Because now you know better, now you see it. You are more trained than you ever believed, and no army on earth could have prepared you better than the fire you've walked through. Now straighten up, lock in, and show them. Soldiers train because the stakes are life and death. Not for applause, not for followers, but for the clarifying chaos that could erupt any second. Wow, their discipline is survival sharpened into muscle, instinct, clarity. They bleed in silence so they can lead in storms. Because when the world collapses, they must rise without hesitation. That's why they train day in, night out. Pain, repetition, failure, repeat. Again, again, again. Not because they want, but because they must grind. But here's the part that will slap you awake. You have the same fire, the same flash of knowing, that deep raw instinct that reacts before your brain can form a thought, and yet dangerously you grab. You call it luck, brush it off, pretend it was nothing. How dare you underestimate your own fire? That one moment you caught something midair, moved before danger struck, felt time slow down. That wasn't random, it was a whisper from your potential saying, I'm still here. But you went back to pretending, like you didn't feel it, like you hadn't tasted something wild and ancient in your blood. Anger, not at you, but for you, because the world trained you to shrink that gift, to sit down, stay quiet, blend in, while others trained for what you've already touched. You were told to ignore it, bury it beneath routines, mask it in politeness, suffocate it with doubt, but make no mistake, that wasn't an accident. It was your calling glitching through the static of ordinary life. Boom, it shook you for a reason, and still you ran from it. Because nobody gave you permission, right? Nobody told you it was okay to be powerful. But guess what? Power doesn't ask. It doesn't beg. It doesn't knock. It kicks doors down. You think soldiers trained to gain instinct. You were born with it now. Imagine what happens when you sharpen that. When you stop hiding it. When you stop letting others dictate your range. Danger becomes your domain. You've had sparks. Now it's time for fire. And that begins the death. Second, you stop pretending to be average. You don't need a stage. You don't need approval. You don't need someone to hand you a sword. You are the sword. And while they train, because they must, what if you train because the world's been lying to you about who you are? That's the difference, and it's time to erase it. Time to burn every excuse. The moment you choose to believe in that first flash, that moment when everything went still, the world will shift. It won't see you coming. But it will never forget you once you arrive. There is a kind of intelligence that doesn't show up on report card, doesn't sparkle in degrees or gold stars. No, this is deeper, and knowing that moves through your bones like lightning. Not from books, not from lectures, but from life, from survival. Let's drop the act for a moment, shall we? No work more pretending everything's okay when deep down it's Burke's. Not because you're failing, but because you're work sleep. Not physically, no, I'm talking about the work sleep of the soul, the one where your fire work dims slowly with every dull routine, every fake work smile, every scroll through distractions that rot your hunger. And you know it, you feel it. That fading work side, that's not aging. That's your spirit begging for works more. You weren't born to exist in loops. You works weren't built to be comfortable. You were forged to burn, to build, to break through. But the world's tricks numbed your roar. Comfort's poison dressed in pretty packaging, feeding your mind until your instincts forgot how to work scream. But oh, they're still in there. That fire, still burning, still angry, still waiting. You've felt it, haven't you? That random shiver during a song, that work jolt when someone drops a line so real your work chest tightens, that surge in your gut that says works. Yes, this me, that's not fantasy, that's reality trying works to slap you awake. That's your pulse remembering who works the hell you are. This right now is works, your moment, your wake-up call. Your alarm that knows you are not broken. You're bored. You're not works lost, you're leash. You've been surviving in a world works that punishes depth and rewards numbness. But that ends works here. Because the real you, it's loud, it's bold, it's electric. And no matter how long you've been to sleep, it's still inside you, kicking at the works walls. This isn't about motivation, this is about resurrection. Your life, your real life, starts the second work. You shake off the sleep and admit, I want works more. Not more stuff, not more likes, more purpose, more passion, more fire. The kind of life that wakes you up at 3 a.m. because your vision won't works let you rest. The kind that forces you to breathe deeper, walk faster, speak louder. That kind of works life doesn't come to sleepers. It comes to stormers. And that's you. You are the storm in waiting. You are the alarm clock the world doesn't expect. You are the system breaker, the rule bender, the works one who rises, not because it's easy, but works because it's true. Look around. Really look. If what works you see doesn't set your heart on fire, burn it down. Rebuild. Breathe again. Decide again. Choose works again. Because that pulse in your chest, that's not works anxiety. That's awakening. You've waited long enough. Now is works your time to rise, not someday now. They told you warriors wear helmets, swing swords, charge into chaos with battle cries echoing through smoke. But wow, how works small their definition is. Because here you are, no works shield, no sword, just scars and silence. And still you endure. And works, that is a warrior's heartbeat. You don't need works a war zone to become a weapon. You don't need works explosions to prove your courage. Your life, that was works the battlefield. And every time it tried to break work you, it failed. Because you, yes, you kept showing works up. That's power. The world can't package or praise because they don't see it. But it's real. Oh, it's dangerously real. You survived invisible wars with works, shame, fear, grief, regret, voices screaming, you're not enough. And still you said, I'll try again. That's not works. Works. You want proof? Look at works. Your soul. It's bruised, yes, but it breathes. It works. It burns with something unteachable. No school gave works you this grit. No coach carved this endurance. Life did. Pain did. Loneliness did. The nights you couldn't cry loud enough because your strength was cracking. You works lived through that. That's warrior blood. And it's boiling bricks now because you've spent too long hiding your power behind humility, behind politeness, behind survival. But it's time to roar. Not with fists, but with truth. Not works to destroy, but to defend what matters. Not to works win, but to rise. Your victories won't make headlines, but they'll build empires within. You've already done the works impossible. Survived yourself. That alone makes you legendary. You works don't need medals for healing. You don't need applause for showing up. What you've done, it's sacred. It's works savage. It's what warriors are made of, doing the works hard thing when no one claps, when no one works sees. You didn't just walk through fire. You works became it. That heat in your chest right now, that's not anxiety. That's awakening. That's the warrior in works. You remembering its name. You were never weak. You works were untested. Now you know. You are steel wrapped in skin. You are thunder walking calmly through storms. And your heart, that wounded wild heart, it beats louder than any drum. So stop shrinking. Stop apologizing for surviving. Stop waiting for a battlefield when your breath is already a battle cry. Every act of works kindness is resistance. Every time you stand up, even trembling, you remind the world what courage looks like. You are the storm before the war. You are Fowd, the warrior without the war. And your strength, it works, is already enough. Always was, always will be. And there it is, the truth you didn't know you were waiting for. You're not just capable, you're crafted for something great. All those accidents weren't accidents. They were previews, glimpses of what happens when your soul wakes up for even a second. So imagine what happens when you wake it up for good. This isn't the end of the video. It's the beginning of you. Don't let it fade. Don't go back to sleep. Share this fire with someone who needs it.